Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. As members of Jamaica's Olympic team get set to travel to Japan for the Tokyo Games, President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, Christopher Samuda, has just embarked on his second four-year term at the helm of the body. Samuda, an attorney at law, received 40 of the 50 votes cast at last Saturday's election to beat off the challenge of Alan Beckford. He will have Jackie Cowan as his first vice president, while Robert Scott has been returned as second vice president. Christopher Samuda now joins us to talk about the way forward for the JOA. Let me start here, Chris. Congratulations on the overwhelming support that you've got to begin another four-year term at the JOA.
Thank you so much, Lance, and thanks to you and your team for having me. My pleasure.
Yeah, let me start here. When you first came to the position in 2017, you had beat off the challenge of Vishu Tolan 20-16, I think it was. So this voting support for you represents a more commanding victory, than the first one. Is this signifying an endorsement of your tenure as leader and a stamp of approval for your continuing?
I take it, Lance, as an endorsement, and I don't take it lightly at all, because I've always maintained that I'm a servant leader. So I want to respect the vote of confidence, and I trust that in the next 4 years I'll be able to demonstrate the confidence which has been reposed in me by the member federations. But certainly my team and I take it as a vote of confidence. We had put in the work in the last quadrennial, and we feel that our member federations and associations have embraced the vision that we articulated and is now pursuing the mission with us. So all in all, we go forward with confidence. We are inspired as leaders, but we also recognize that we are not all the repositories of knowledge. And therefore, we're going to be leading our member federations and associations so that we can learn from them and they can learn from us. And it will be a symbiotic process as we achieve and as we succeed.
Yeah, historic that the Jamaica Volleyball Association President Jackie Cowan becomes the first woman to hold a vice presidential position with the Jamaica Olympic Association. What are your comments on that to the public?
Jackie's credentials and pedigree are well established now. Well established. She's president of the Jamaica Volleyball Association, and she holds regional positions as well. So she comes to the table with a wealth of experience and competencies, and I'm sure that she will make a signal contribution. Yes, historic, the first female president and first vice president of the Jamaica Olympic Association, and I expect Jackie to lead assertively, but at the same time in a very humble way, as she is. And we look forward to joining efforts so that the Jamaica Olympic Association will not only achieve, but succeed in our goals and objectives.
Yeah, I've noted over the past 4 years, Christopher, that you have used an approach of diversifying the kind of investment that you've had in the entire Olympic sporting platform. I note that of the 78 medals that the Jamaicans have won in the Olympic Games history, only one has not been track and field. I get the feeling that you would want to see more sports rising to high global levels to join the track and field success.
No, absolutely, Lance. Whereas an achievement in garnering more medals at the Olympic Games in track and field is somewhat progress. I feel that the definition of progress must be the number of disciplines that you, of course, are represented in at the Olympic Games. And therefore, our mandate and our objective is to ensure that at each Olympic Games, we increase the number of disciplines that are competitively represented. So this year we have 6, which is an increase, 1 over the last. And certainly by Paris, we're hoping to have at least 10 to 12 disciplines competing at the Olympic Games. That is progress. And we have a wealth of talent in the associations, which people refer to as the non-traditional associations, but we don't perceive them to be at all. We give an equal opportunity to members to transition to the Olympic stage, and we also give an equal fair share of the wallet to them as well. So we are looking forward to a very successful games in Tokyo. Yes, there have been challenges brought on by the COVID pandemic, but I believe that our athletes or players or swimmers or divers they are in fact inspired, and I have no doubt that they will do their best.
Definitely. Any projects that you would have started in your previous term that would be on your mandate to get completed this term?
Well, we're always big on education. That is a substratum of any sport industry, and we do not have a sport industry in Jamaica, and therefore one of our mandates is to contribute to the construction of a sporting industry in Jamaica. So we have the advanced sports management course, which in fact we had assertively advanced this year by having 3 or 4 editions in the quadrennial. And we hope to export that course to the diaspora, to bring the diaspora into more of an experience with the Jamaica Olympic Association, and also to build competencies and expertise outside of Jamaica from which we can benefit. We have the Stamina course team that is an educational product. We started it 2 years ago, first in the history of the Jamaica Olympic Association. And that sees experts coming to Jamaica to transfer the knowledge, to teach, to educate. And we are very pleased at the results of our Stamina workshops, because our member associations have not only commended the JOA for it, but we see the practical benefits in terms of the administration and the management of the respective associations and federations being improved. So we're going to continue with that. We are going to continue deepening our member engagement, because that is the essence of sport. You have to have an engagement with your athletes, coaches, and administrators if you're going to enjoy a measure of success. So we'll deepen that, and we will also look in terms of our corporate structure, building it out more, so as to facilitate not only financial governance, but also the engagement of our members. We have a member relations manager now, and that has been a success story. She has worked with associations in terms of their strategic and business plans. She has staged workshops for them. So that is engaging our membership to ensure that they not only understand that a corporate structure must be in place for them to enjoy a measure of success, but that they themselves must be in a position after a while to transfer that knowledge to a generation of sportsmen and sportswomen that are coming after them.
Christopher Samuda, congratulations on your success, and I certainly hope that you and your team can lift standards even higher in the second term than you managed in the first term, and of course, open more streams of funding for the various associations under your very big umbrella. I want to ask you this, Mr. President. I've been made to understand that there is an issue concerning the JOA and its, let me choose the word correctly here, let me just set it with willingness to pay for the accommodation and airfare for athletes going to Tokyo. And I'm happy that you are here today, because I said, I have to put this squarely to the president, and so you can consider it put, sir. What's your response?
No, absolutely not. We have contributed, as a matter of fact, and we have contributed significantly to the expenses that will be incurred in respect of those reserves. It has always been our mandate to ensure that the athlete is placed at the center, at the heart of the Olympic movement. Yes, we have to be very frugal with the spend of our resources, because we have 50 other associations and federations that command our attention in terms of our financial resources. But we have contributed, and we have contributed significantly. And over the years, we have contributed to track and field. You would have realized in the Olympic Destiny Series, there was a contribution by the Jamaica Olympic Association, and the series was absolutely successful. And then we contributed to the national trials. So we have, in fact, placed the athlete at the center of our activities. And we hope that we will be able to have a measure of success in track and field, as we have always done at the Olympic Games. And therefore, we expect that other disciplines, other sports are going to be looking to us for funding, going to be looking to us for resources. And therefore, as I said, we have to be very frugal in our spend. And we have to be very cost efficient.
And based on how the report was made to me, it was made to seem as if even where there is a contribution, that contribution from a relative evaluation perspective is less than previous years. Is that so?
Not at all. Not at all. We, in fact, underwrite the cost of the Olympic Games, the Commonwealth Games, the Central American Games. Yes, in relation to the Olympic Games and the Pan Am Games, we have a contribution from the IOC in relation to travel brands, but CAC, we underwrite it entirely. Commonwealth, you can practically say we underwrite it because the assistance is not that impressionable at all. So we spend significantly. Last quadrennial, we spent $370 million on our member associations and athletes, never done before. And we did so without compromising the bottom line. As a matter of fact, the bottom line grew handsomely. And we were able to generate $260 million in terms of our revenue base. So we know and we understand, and we don't apologize for spending on our athletes and our member federations. And the results are their team. The Commonwealth Games, the Pan Am Games, the CAC Games were all historic in terms of the number of disciplines represented, the medals that were garnered, and the size of the contingency. And therefore, we feel that that spend has been justified entirely, and we will continue that modus operandi.
And then there are some people who appear to be put out by what is being reported as a situation where the last Pan Am Games were concerned, where it was felt that the JOA didn't didn't make certain payments to travel agents that it ought to, putting the responsibility on the J3s. And I was happy to get the chance to speak with you because it's another issue I'm putting to you for clarification.
I really don't understand that, because we made all of the payments legitimately. And those expenses that were incurred were under the aegis of the Pan Am PASO organization. So I don't understand. Perhaps you have more information than I do. But certainly in terms of our obligations, our financial obligations, we satisfied all of them for the Pan Am Games.
Well, the two questions were intended to determine, Mr. President, if it is that you have in any form resiled from your financial commitments, especially when you compare what other JOAs, led by other people other than yourself, have contributed to an Olympic year, and where it is that clearing up arrears are concerned, and you've provided the answers. I want to ask you this, in terms of revenue streams. I know that it's difficult because, look, everybody believes that, look, my association is the most important association. I am as important as track and field, even though I don't bring home the medals that track and field does. And the JOA is not giving me enough to be able to put us in a fighting position to do well by our members and our sub-members. So the challenge for you in this go-around is funding. When you're looking at the landscape, Chris Samuda, you know the business people here, where are you most likely to be able to get that kind of funding, to be able to give more to the Oliver Twists that are supporting the JOA?
Well, thank God for the last quadrennial, we were able to comfortably meet the needs and demands of our association, simply because we were able to grow the revenue base exponentially. But the demands and the needs of associations are going to evolve over the years, and we understand that we have to, of course, garner far more corporate support. So we'll be sourcing our funds from corporate Jamaica, which has responded quite well, quite robustly to our overtures, to the extent that some are now approaching us rather than we going to the market to source sponsors and financiers. We're going to also look for more sources of funds from the IOC under the Olympic Solidarity Fund. We expanded that in the last quadrennial very well. In other words, we tapped into sources hitherto never done, and we were able to resource our member federations and associations by virtue of doing that. So it's a mixture of corporate sponsorship, a mixture of funds from the IOC, and also we are not ignoring the international markets as well. We will be embarking upon what we call a dollar fund campaign with the Diaspora Council, and we hope that that will be extremely successful. We have to understand that there is going to be a lot of demands financially as sports federations and also athletes grow and advance. And we have to ensure that we meet that demand. Yes, we may not be able to meet it completely, but what my administration is about to do is to ensure that whatever is necessary to transition the athletes to the international stage, we will do so. Clearly, we have to, of course, introduce, and we have in fact employed, a meritocracy. It's based on merit, and you have to exemplify certain criteria in order to access funding. And that, of course, has always been a protocol of ours that our member associations understand.
Hey, Christopher, we've got to leave it now. In 15 seconds, the Olympics start in 8 days from now. Give the Caribbean a good word about your expectations for Tokyo, because it's going to be so much different from what we'd seen prior.
No, absolutely. The testing regime team will be invasive. And this is why we have engaged a sports psychologist for the first time, who will be going with our Olympic team, because we understand that with the challenges, with the robust testing regime, athletes are going to come under emotional pressure, mental pressure. So there are going to be challenges, and we have to reassure them each step of the way that, yes, those are challenges that other athletes face, and therefore we can't use that as an excuse in order to separate ourselves. What we have to do is to address them as best as we can and prepare mentally.
Thank you.
I'm looking with optimism.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
I'm really with optimism.
Okay,
I know that the athletes have put in a lot of work. They have been committed throughout all of the challenges. And some have spoken to me, and I understand exactly their emotional status. And I've said to them, like any soldier, you have to be prepared for any eventuality.
Thank you very much.
Cannot use excuses.
Thanks a lot, Christopher Samuda, and congratulations on your returning to the top spot of the JOA.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, team. My pleasure.
Yeah, great. We go to break. A lot more to come on the SportsMax Zone.